So how did you find me? I'm glad you did.
Yeah,
Definitely glad you did.
yeah, like I had said, went to Mad Tea Party Jam in 2016. I attended a few of the workshops there, including both the Year Merkabah activations. Forget the guy's name, but I also went to the one he was like kind of like doing that stuff with ancient Aramaic. Then one other. So, I was kind of a little bit more shyer back then, even though it was just, or more shy, I guess I should say, even though it was just a year ago. And I probably didn't, you know, even though I wasn't participating in the shops, I probably didn't like talk to many people after, but I remembered your name. And I found you on Facebook a few months back. Just I like to keep those connections. Even if we maybe didn't chat too much at the actual event.
That's
Um,
all good.
yeah, and then like I actually, then a few months ago, I actually applied to be an ambassador for the Base Nectar Network, and I got in just the other day, and I started to think of project ideas that I could put on my Base Center application. They're really all about obviously like crowd interaction and kind of expanding the network of empathy. And I
Yeah.
really thought about
Uh,
the Merkabah activation, how probably a lot of people hadn't really experienced that, and how that would be a very good place to maybe get groups of maybe 10 people at a time, and try to do it myself. Originally I was just thinking about maybe doing guided meditations, but then like I remember the Merkabah activation, and I thought like, let me see if I can actually do this or not. And that's what led me back to you.
awesome. No, that's so good, and I think you're totally right. Like the base nectar community, I think could be very receptive to this and find a lot of great benefit from this.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, what I love about Merkaba is that it's just so profound. If you do a guided meditation, that can be really good and really great in its own ways, and benefits can vary. But this is like just like a
It's different.
explosion like
Yeah.
in your face of like energy, and then you're like, oh my god, what was that? So to really like jar people in their awareness to really like expand their consciousness, what we're doing, we're really like helping facilitate this realization of a higher consciousness beyond like our typical one of energy. And I'll explain. So what we do when we do the Merkaba, we activate our multidimensional light bodies is what's in theory what's happening. And with that, we are able to access higher energies. We're able to integrate like higher, and I'll say just multidimensional in general, dimensions of ourselves all within one like place in time within our like physical bodies. So it's really crazy. But you experience that energy of that happening, and from that point on, like I'm sure you've probably experienced a fair amount of this, but like after you experience something like that, your reality tends to shift into being more aware to different things in your reality that you may not have been before,
Yeah.
such as synchronicities
Yep.
and just the ability of like your thoughts to manifest, or even psychic abilities. It just raises your vibration, so you can just think internally, like this is a mechanism in which you can like actually facilitate this raising of your own energies to like a higher frequency, which will be able to come with all kinds of honestly wonderful benefits, I feel. So that's in a nutshell what's going on. So because we're recording, I'll just kind of dive into it, unless you got anything to add up on or on top of that, or
No, I definitely I've definitely noticed all of that. So
oh, that's great. And you may have before, or were you before to like a degree, or usually when this happens, it it just like opens up in a pretty big way. Usually when people do this, uh, often I hear, they're like, wow, from that point, like my whole life like shifted in this direction where, just
Yeah,
all these like
I
great
mean,
things.
absolutely. That I mean, Mad Tea Party in general, but I mean, I would definitely, I think that's the first activity that me and the girl I was dating at the time had done because we had come later, and that really kind of just set the whole tone for the weekend, and then and then onwards as well. And so while I think that I was certainly, you know, I feel I've considered myself more awake for a while, maybe more than some
Sure.
of I mean I'm about to be 24, but like maybe more than some. Not trying to be egotistical about it, but maybe more than some people my age. But
No,
ever
to
since
be real,
then,
that's cool. Yeah.
but ever since then, it's like been just a whole new level of more synchronicities, more almost like you said, almost psychic connections,
Excellent.
manifesting like a just way happier reality for myself.
Yeah. So what I like to tell people, and I may have told you when we did this, but um, you can say this like in your facilitation as well, but by doing this exercise and not even like sugarcoating it at all, like just really saying it how it is, like this is a mechanism in which by doing this, it will, I feel like it will set the person on a radical path to their soul's mission,
Yeah,
in life. You raise your vibration up, and then like where you're meant to like go, like it'll start coming to you. You'll be able to start like being able to interpret things differently based on like wherever like each person has come from.
sure,
We got to go through our own personal journeys to like learn how to operate in this higher frequency. So
sure.
that will vary.
Sure. And sometimes it takes a little bit longer than maybe that we want, it can be kind of spread throughout, time.
Sure.
And this year has been a little bit, rough for me. I had graduated last May, and I've been stuck in this cubicle job that I absolutely hate. But I actually made the decision to go teach English in Vietnam. And I'm leaving for that in mid-September.
Wow.
Yeah, and I don't
Congrats.
think, yeah, thank you. But I don't think that I would have reached that decision if it wasn't for this community in general, and then specifically, obviously, a lot of the guided meditations that I've been just doing on YouTube, but definitely the workshops that I attend at these things. You know, Mad Tea Party, honestly, was probably my favorite festival. 4 workshops I ever attended. I really wish I could have went this year, but I just couldn't make it happen. But
Mhm.
you know,
Dude, yeah, for sure. Um, so excellent. I will try and just like get right into it then. So basically, Merkabah. So what I'm going to do, I'm gonna like break it down, the information that you can give people, and then walk you through the process of doing the workshop a
yeah,
bit. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you a video for you to watch of the gentleman that I actually learned this workshop from, and it's a
okay,
video of him giving the workshop to like over 100 people,
wow,
and you can watch him and just really take really good notes on like his process. That's in general, like I've taken my practice from that
yeah,
video and like used it and just kind of made it into my own thing. I talked to him one time, like video chat, kind of like this, to kind of make sure I was doing it right, and I was actually going to study under him. but unfortunately, like he actually died, so he's no longer with us. Tragically, he died like a few months after that. So I kind of look at it like, you know, he was really like leading strong with this whole work. His name was Phoenix Rodan. He was actually from the Philippines, and I co-organized this festival in Asheville that he just happened to come and give this Merkabah activation.
Yeah.
And he unfortunately, he unfortunately passed. So I feel like we're carrying on his work by doing this, and it's very powerful. And you know, I definitely owe everything I've done with Merkabah to him significantly, because he facilitated that experience for me. And,
yeah.
So yeah, really crazy. I won't get too much deeper into that right during this recorded chat, but
yeah.
He said that he learned this breathwork technique through channeling his spirit guides, is what he explained, and he might explain in the video, but that's what he said. And they instructed him to develop this breathwork exercise that he called the Merkabah light body activation method, which is what we teach, is called that. So, and it turned into, you know, what it did, you know. So whether that's like the truth or not, I mean, I don't see any reason not to believe him, I suppose. But
yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, the benefits are pretty much unquestionable. So
it's like, right, yeah. So, you know, your spirit guides, wherever you like found this information to do this, like this shit definitely does something pretty juicy. So Phoenix Rodan from the Philippines, and you know, if he was with us today, I could imagine he would have definitely been rocking the Merkabah activation for a while, and it really shocks me that he was just like just taken like that, because he was like totally healthy looking, very competent dude. He had a stroke, and a few days later that was it, apparently. So just really value your life, our lives. You know, you never know how long this ride is going to go.
Any second, any day. I mean,
seriously. So, so yeah, I'm going to give you the video for you to watch, and it's super great. Basically, the only thing that he said that, or to do, that I wasn't doing in my own workshops, which I kind of take it like this. Like, basically everything was fine. He said his spirit guides led him to use this music that I later found out was from Desert Dwellers, like Lotus Heart, I think is what it was called. Like, we're leading him to use that for the Merkabah activations. But I feel like it can vary. You know, definitely look into that track if you'd like to use music with this. You don't have to.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Can you say that one more time so I just type it?
Yeah, it's called Lotus Heart by Desert Dwellers.
Very cool. Yeah, Desert Dwellers are awesome.
Yeah, and that was like back when I didn't know many people that even knew of Desert Dwellers. It was like 2011.
Yeah, I can imagine. That was quite a bit ago. I think I was a junior in high school.
Wow. Yeah. They've made like, I want to say close to 100 albums too. They've been around for a while and just like pumping it out.
That was cool. Yeah, I think I caught like half their set at Mad Tea Party 2016, but I'm actually headed off to Eclipse, so I'll hopefully be able to catch their set there.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Hangouts. Sorry, it doesn't look like my video camera is working for some reason.
Oh yeah, it's just been your icon the whole time. I thought you were
okay.
It's cool though.
I didn't. Yeah, thank you. I didn't realize that. Okay. Yeah, if you don't mind, I might continue like this because it looks like I need to like mess with some settings and stuff.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I thought you were doing it on purpose anyways.
Oh, nope. I like put it got all ready, so I guess whatever, we'll roll with it. Okay, so what I'll say when you do these exercises, talk to your own like intuitive mind, your spirit guides, whoever you want to communicate with. You know, you can just like go by like how you feel and use music that you feel would suit the particular workshop you're going to facilitate. So don't think that it has to be so rigid. This is just how I've been doing it, and I've found that certainly sometimes it definitely pays off pretty big, it feels like, or it just seems to work like very, very well. So so into the details. Merkabah means, so the word Merkabah is an ancient Hebrew and Egyptian word. While this loads, sometimes I mess this up myself, which is kind of embarrassing. So it's broken up Merkabah, which means light. So you can look that up yourself if you need to as well. So this practice of using your Merkabah goes back for many, many thousands of years. It predates some major religions. Be found in like ancient texts like the Bible and some other different esoteric scriptures. In ancient Egypt, in The Secrets of the Flower of Life, written by Drumbo Melchizedek, he writes about the ancient mystery schools. And to become initiated into the mystery schools, to then go further and learn more secrets to, I don't know, the esoteric arts, we'll say. The very first thing that they have initiates do in these mystery schools is to undergo a Merkabah activation. So you can look at this like, you know, when you're having people activate their Merkabahs, you know, you're initiating them into their own, you know, pursuits of coming to their own awareness of different esoteric and like higher studies of spiritual energy.
Awesome.
Yeah, and if you ever have the chance, you can check out his books. He has 2 different volumes called The Ancient Secrets of the Flower of Life, and he talks extensively, especially in the 2nd volume, about Merkabah. Drumbo Melchizedek.
I'm sorry, what is it?
The Ancient Secrets of the Flower of Life.
Flower of Life.
I'll write in the chat.
Cool.
I highly recommend that. Just there's PDFs for free online, so you don't need to buy the book.
Okay.
And you can just read it at your own leisure. Can be very helpful, you know, for your own further understanding of Merkabah. He's done a lot of research. He also has a Merkabah breathwork exercise to activate Merkabahs in a way that he found out, okay. Which I think would be worth looking into. I haven't found a great way online to do it yet, but somebody recommended to me that there's a school, I believe online, that, golly, I forgot the name, teaches his breathwork exercise. So so what we're doing here is based off of this gentleman, Phoenix Rodin's instructions by his spirit guides. And he actually explained this to me, that this workshop that we give is actually like a mini Merkabah activation. Like, he almost explained it like the taste of Merkabah activation. So it's sort of like the beginning phases, and the workshop to fully activate your Merkabah SETI was like weeks long.
Yeah.
So throughout, our facilitation and such, we'll need to, I mean, this is good. If this is all you want to teach, like, that's great. I guess I'll get into it more maybe after this like broadcast, but I'm going to be doing a live stream about twice a week for people to do online Merkabah activations. I'm actually working on the track right now. Would like to get it done today even, to have this like pre-recorded Merkabah activation. And then the whole group is basically to continue to interface with our light bodies through our breath, and then to continue to build our understanding of the Merkabah, because if it can be fully utilized, what it is said to be able to do, like, you can travel, consciously to other dimensions, and in theory go so far as to even travel to other dimensions as well. Like, it sounds pretty fucking insane, I know, but
I mean, I'm open to it, man.
yeah. So this is kind of the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
And there could be tons to benefit from that. So possibly something that you might be interested in, becoming a Merkabah facilitator. Been trying to encourage the people that are interested in facilitating Merkabah to participate at least occasionally, and together we can kind of like build an archive of information through our own research, and hopefully one day be able to like package it, just give it to people and be like, this is how you activate your Merkabah 101, and like operate your light body vehicle operation manual for yourself. So
be cool.
Yeah. So that's really what my work is like building up to. So
that's awesome, man.
Yeah. No, I feel like the world needs that. If we can like break the veil with really being able to interface with something like this, then I think we have a shot, like a very real shot of like really succeeding as humanity, and becoming like step into a higher potential of ourselves and escape a lot of the suffering on the planet.
Yeah.
And be able to like live our dreams like lucidly, like in our lives. So that's what I think. I think it can definitely serve as a tool that's more practical, that's not necessarily psychedelic.
Yeah.
But it is psychedelic in its own right, though.
Right.
It's not like you're taking a drug or anything.
Right. Right.
Damn. So yeah, I think that kind of boils down like the gist of the information on Merkabah. You can research more. Definitely look into the ancient secrets of the flower of life. It's a really good resource, and just tons of information online, various places. So what you can do, you can take what I said, and I'm going to give you the video of Phoenix doing the workshop, and like take from us and like boil down some kind of explanation for yourself. It's always good to like explain to people like what this shit is. So they can have a good idea, because it's funny, like some people will roll up to a workshop, they're like, oh, Merkabah, light body activation. Oh, light body activation, that sounds interesting, and it's like they might not have any idea what they're getting themselves into, and then you like break it down, and they're just like, what the fuck is this? It sounds great though. So we'll go ahead. So yeah, I'll get into the process of actually like carrying out the exercise next here. So any questions right now?
No, as of now, I'm pretty good.
Okay, I'm not moving too quick. You know, I
No,
could go a little slower.
no, it's a good pace.
Okay, great. Okay, so the exercise that you'll see in Phoenix's video, actually with him explaining it and doing the whole workshop, is I think over an hour long. But I typically boil it down because of time constraints to like 45 to 30 minutes, sometimes less, with the explanation and then the actual workshop.
Right.
Yeah, you can. I feel like you still can give workshops that are pretty short and still have people feel their Merkabahs. So you
Yeah.
can decide if you want to go long or short. You know, I've just been going a little shorter myself.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think it's always good to, you know, after you explain it to them, tell them to find some kind of comfortable position to place themselves. I find it's the most beneficial, at least for me, and I feel like for most people, to be seated, and to be either half or, if possible, full lotus, because it really like anchors yourself like very solidly to your position, and the kind of energy that we experience is, as you know, can be very powerful. So to be like in your strongest posture to do it is, I think, serves the best. But if people need to, you know, if they're, you know, they have some kind of physical restrictions or that they're just not comfortable positioning themselves like that, they can also stand, they can lay down, they could still go through the exercise and activate their Merkabahs. I find it can sometimes be more difficult, but
Sure.
You just want to make sure people are comfortable. And then I find it helpful sometimes if you're familiar with guided meditation. Are you at all?
I'm definitely familiar with it. I've led it kind of amateurly just for friends.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's good. You got something to go off of.
Yeah.
So, and not even like very in-depthly, I feel like it's just good to relax people.
Yeah.
And get them in the zone for this. So, instructing them on, for example, what I do often is I'll instruct people to breathe, you know, take some breaths at their own pace. And then after they do that for maybe up to 30 seconds, just lead them through a quick visualization of really grounding themselves to whatever position they're at. And I often do this by like imagining that imagining the core of the earth, there being a light or something coming out of it, tethering yourself from the bottom of your spine, like really anchoring. And then I go so far as to like completely anchor ourselves to the center of the universe as well, whatever we may imagine that to be, just so we're like fixed in this position. So we're able to like ground ourselves firmly down to be able to like properly experience this exercise. So you can basically say just that, and you know, or not, you know, just however you want to relax people is basically the gist of it. So you can use your own creative freedom on that. You know, eventually you will make this your own workshop.
Yeah, absolutely.
So in your own flavor, the best way that you feel works for you to give it.
Right.
So getting them like in a position that they're ready, relaxing them so they're ready. So you can do that first, you know, after you explain everything to them.
Right.
And I forgot critically before you do this. So by relaxing them and doing all that, I feel I often do it right before I begin the breath work. So they're all in the zone, so they're ready to breathe. So we're just gonna skip back one step though. Before you get to relaxing them, and after you've explained Merkabah to them, you can explain the exercise, which is gonna be a 3-part series of breathing at different rates. We're going to be doing something called hyperoxygenating our bodies. We're not going to be hyperventilating ourselves. And we're going to be pushing the air fully out from the bottom of our lungs as we exhale. That's really like the key of what we're doing. So we're going to inhale either through our nose or our mouth, and then exhale fully on each breath. So each of these phases, we're going to start slow to kind of warm our bodies up. So it'll be like breathe in, out, in, out, about that pace. And I will say, just because I know this is a lot to take in, because we're recording this, I can just send you this recording and you can literally watch this later.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Parts that, yeah, you need to go over again. So
Sure.
So yeah, don't feel like you're gonna miss something critical, because you can just literally rewind and watch it later.
Sure.
Great. So for that first phase, you don't have to explain this to them, like break it down this far. Basically, you can explain to them, like, we're going to go through 3 phases of breathing. We're going to start slow. We're going to end off really fast. You can basically do that. But I'm telling you what we're going to do through that first phase. It's going to be about that pace of breathing for, I'd say, like 5 to 10 minutes if you want to do a really long one. And through that first phase, you can change the pace maybe 3 or 4 times, depending on your discretion. You can increase to go faster, but at the end of that first phase, I wouldn't be like going real fast.
Right.
You know, at least being like, okay, we're getting ready to like start into these like faster breathing phases. So maybe 3 or 4 of those. I'll leave it up to you to kind of gauge how much you want to do of that. You could possibly even do less. The first one I feel isn't like critically important. It's just kind of like a good warm up.
Right.
It's really the second and especially the third phase that are like where the money's at for the Merkabah activation. So after that first phase, the second phase, same thing, 3 to 4 different phases, just increase. And then the third one, you know, 3 or 4 phases increasing. And it's like you're building yourself up for like a really strong run. So like you're kind of jogging in the beginning, doing warm-ups. And then after each phase, you take a little break. You have them relax, return to normal breathing. Something I like to do sometimes that Phoenix didn't do is have them visualize their Merkabahs, which is intercepting. Man, I wish my video was working. Shoot, can I fix this? Camera problems. Hangouts cannot use the selected camera without working camera. What on earth?
I have seen visualizations of it. I have.
Okay, because I have like a card with the image with me, but so yeah, it's a basically 2 3-dimensional pyramids intercepting, creating a star, 3-dimensional Star of David. And how the Merkabah works is each of those pyramids will spin in different directions from themselves. So you can have people imagine that Drunvalo Melchizedek explains that the length of the Merkabah goes out beyond the body, 55 meters long. So it's he explains it as it's pretty big. You know, it basically will fill up like your auric field, which also goes pretty big. It's just a part of that whole complex. You don't have to boil it down that far. You know, you can if you want. I feel like it could vary based on the person.
Definitely.
So you can have them visualize that. You can tell them how long it is if you'd like. You can have them imagining it spinning, you know, in whatever directions they feel it's supposed to be spinning for them in that moment. And you can have them imagine it spinning faster if you want to, as they're going further down the breathing, and introducing those concepts to them in between the phases. So it's like, yeah, after phase 1, it's like it's going a little faster. After phase 2, it's like definitely going faster. It's like spinning almost like light, you know, it's going so fast. So Phoenix's video is going to really explain it much better. You know, you're going to see like in real time example of the different phases. So that should really wrap it up for you with that, you know. So after that, so that's basically it, you know, and you just want to encourage the breathing. You're leading it. You can instruct them, you know, verbally, breathe in, breathe out. As you go faster, and you'll see Phoenix do this, it might be easier for you to, instead of instructing to breathe in and out, you're breathing with them. You're like, ha, 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 for them to just follow along.
Right.
And really do the best. Sorry, what's that?
Get everybody on the same pace, or try your best to do so.
Yeah, I find that it's really best to like keep them all on the same pace. So if you gotta like kind of shepherd them back to the pace,
right,
you know, I think that's helpful for them and everyone, because it's very critical, especially as you're getting into the higher phases, to hold that rhythm. Because if you like start to stray off of it or off of that rhythm, you could sort of cheat yourself out of like having that more fuller experience of energy.
Sure.
And that's really the transformational part, you know, like after we get through the different phases, usually like around the end of the second, some people can begin to feel something. And especially like at the fucking end of it, you know, people might be like sitting around looking at each other, just like, just sitting there like,
what had just happened?
Just feeling it. Yeah, exactly.
I couldn't stop smiling. Like,
yeah, that's so beautiful. No, yeah, that's so great to hear, because it's so like it can be so beautiful to feel that energy for the first time, and you're just like, wow, this is real. This is very tangible. It's in my body here, there.
Yeah,
you know, and almost like I don't think there's been one time reported to me or that I've experienced that it feels bad,
right?
Other than so it may be helpful. Phoenix doesn't explain this. I kind of wish he had. So kind of bringing it back before the breath work, you can explain to them that they may feel these tangible physical sensations throughout their body. And you can explain it to them like it may be a tingling sensation in various parts of your body. Just don't freak out, you know, just allow yourself to experience that. You know, nothing is wrong. You know, definitely want to make sure they know nothing is wrong.
Right.
I've had some people, like, I think Mad Tea Party, the year that you came, I don't know if she was with your group or not, but she was like, I don't think she was like in a bad way, like panicking, but she was like, during it, she's like, what is happening to me?
Yeah, I actually remember that. Yeah.
I was like, it's cool. It's cool. Just
Yeah,
just go with it.
I had heard her later in the day, like, and she like kept talking about it. Like, I think she was like under the influence of something as well. So I think the combination was really like a lot for her.
That can be, and to be honest, like something maybe to experiment for yourself, like in a sacred setting. And I would, if you were to encourage others, like make sure it would be a sacred setting. But people that I know who have done the breath work and use psychedelic tools at the same time have experienced like profound like visuals of this like activation happening. This one friend of mine took some LSD and he did the workshop with this guy Phoenix, and he said that he just saw all this energy around his body and this like huge beam of light like shooting into the air, like like out from him. So
That's crazy. That's awesome.
I know, yeah, it sounds beautiful, but you want to make sure you're, I would say, in a sacred place, not encouraging people to just like do it and then like go off and do something else.
Right time and right place,
So that could be something that we look into like further down the line. With like experimenting, but definitely sacred and safe spaces for stuff like that. So we're like protected energetically because we open ourselves up in a big way, when we do stuff like that. So, yeah, it depends. If you're at a festival, chances are this might happen to you. If you're at a bass sector show, somebody rolls in there, they just took some mushrooms or something, and they do this exercise. Could be a very special experience for them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I definitely would. Hopefully, I'll monitor. I'll try to be, conscious of who might be, severely, under not severely. I guess that's the wrong word, but definitely in that state, and definitely maybe keep an extra eye on them to see what.
Sure, I wouldn't say don't let them do it because.
Yeah, no, I didn't mean it like that, but just kind of like be more observant for my own, notes later on to see what it might do to them, in a good way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, everything that you take too and like gather from this is like building on the honestly repioneering of this practice that has been lost or just kept away for many, many thousands of years and bringing it back into the light for people at this time. So the work that you will be doing is very, I feel, very important for us as humanity, just to really, understand something like, so, I mean, this is essentially a type of spiritual technology, I feel like, that is a part of our complex, it's a part of our souls, and so I'll leave it at that. I'll just leave it at that, So definitely, I'd love to hear any reports from you, any experiences. Hopefully you'd be into this show. It's going to be called the Merkabah Light Body Activation Mystery School. It'll be a Google Hangout, video chat, anywhere in the world. You can be in Vietnam or Antarctica or wherever.
Yeah.
And participating in bringing your notes to the group, and then we'll record them. And then what I'd like to do again is like take the recordings and document the information, write like a instruction manual, based on our information that we end up gathering.
Yeah.
But if not, definitely document, what you can, at least, keep it in mind and ask like after the activations, like, oh yeah, how do you feel?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's good to have a little discussion circle, and because it can really help.
Absolutely.
It can just really help your own understanding. So yeah, like that girl, you just want to be sure to, as you're like filling them in on Merkabah, and maybe fit it in somewhere around like explaining the breathing cycles that you may feel energy sensations, and just allow yourself to experience it. And the most intense energies that I've felt that were uncomfortable And usually it's for people doing it their first few times at least.
Mm-hmm.
There's this sensation in your hands. If you do it, like if you have a very powerful one, your hands may like clench up really hard and you can't like move your fingers, which I find this to be like a really bizarre sort of thing that happens. But I found to just like allow that to happen is fine. And what I could even explain this to be from doing it so many times, like this is just like what I've gathered from my research. I feel like these different areas in our bodies that we feel this like intense energy, like tingling, almost uncomfortable energy, like we just hit our funny bone a little bit, or you know, our arm's about to fall asleep and it's like tingling before it goes numb kind of feeling, is as we're doing the breath work, as we're activating our light bodies through our breath, we're pulling in energy from the air. You know, it's explained in other cultures as chi and prana. And that might be also something very beneficial. It would be to explain what we're doing. Pulling that into our bodies, and we're like lighting up our bodies with all this energy. So I feel when we're feeling that tingling sensation that there's different areas of our body, because largely our light bodies are barely, if not completely inactive until we interface with them, that there's these blockages of energies or energy within our light body complex, our like spirit complex. And by putting this energy through us, you know, it can like blast open those blockages. You know, like imagine like turning on a sink, you know, and there's things like clogging the sink. Imagine it in this way, like by doing that, you know, we're clearing the pipes out. So for whatever reason, I feel like our hands, it's explained in Reiki a lot too, that we use our hands to move energy around, to like give and receive energy.
Yeah.
Like they're pretty immediate extensions of ourselves, that the energy just moves in and out like more freely.
Right. That makes sense.
And so as we've like flushed our system, you know, with this energy, you know, it's trying to leave, you know, the dense energy within us is actually physically trying to leave through our hands. And by doing that, it's like getting like clogged through our fingers, like as it's getting like pushed out. Because you'll find as you do it more, it'll run more smoothly. Your hands won't cramp up.
Right.
You know, so we're like doing a hard flush of our system, like flushing that denser energy out of us.
Right.
So that's my own educated guess. That's what it feels like to me, to be honest.
It felt good. Whatever, like I could remember, you know, very clearly that the feelings in my palms, like that very tingly, like it felt good that it was happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Definitely. Like I feel like that energy, you know, as that dense energy is leaving and it's making our areas of our hands like light up, that it's good. It's leaving, and what it's leaving behind is that like higher energy that we just like breathe in, and it's like replacing it with that. So that's why I feel like after you do it, you're sitting there and you feel like you're almost glowing. You know, you feel this like this feeling of just glow around your body. You know, you'll probably just be sitting there blissed out, smiling, and just enjoying this like this energy you've just breathed into your body. So if you can take what I just said there and kind of boil it down, give some kind of like pre-warning to people, you know, you may feel this energy. This may be what it is. You can explain it as that or not. I often do. and just allow yourself to go with it. You don't have to like fight your hands like, oh fuck, my hands are like stuck shut and like I'm like panicking. Like the person I was just talking to before this this chat, who did the Merkabah activation for her first time. She also wants to be a facilitator. Said like all this happened to her, you know, and she said it actually scared her, you know, and she needs to like go back and do it again because she's like, oh yeah, I need to like make sure I get it. But like through that initial process, and I did warn her like that, you know, some of the stuff happens, but I think it's just different when you actually experience it instead of hear it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, she had like the thing with her hands locking up, and you know she had to like lay down during it. So sometimes that might happen. You know, you might be giving this workshop, and you know the main thing is you just want to make sure people are comfortable. So
yeah.
People might start keeling over, you know,
yeah,
just laying down because it's like, man, this energy is so intense.
Yeah,
you know, to be integrating because it's at a higher vibration.
Yeah,
you know, and it's literally your body's actually even vibrating. So, no, it feels really good to talk about this stuff so freely because. Man, I just wish that it was more like mainstreamed, accepted. That it's like, oh yeah, the energy, yeah, the vibrating in your body, yeah, that.
Yeah.
So
I mean, there's quite a lot
right.
of, you know, doubters, but you know, I guess that's part of the reason that you know I want to go out and start doing this, especially. I mean, it's easy. It's way easier said, you know, it's way easier at, say, a base nectar concert or a festival because, you know, most of these people are more open-minded or, you know, in the middle of their awakening or whatever it is. But if we can keep spreading it, then, you know, and
Fuck yeah.
past it, if people can bring it to their, you know, like I'll probably practice this with my mom, my sister, or, you know, my aunts and uncles possible. You know what I mean? So
that's beautiful. Yeah. Wow. Well, I mean, hopefully we can, you know, get this on the mainstream. I'm very happy to see that Reiki, which is like you're familiar with Reiki, correct?
Yeah, I actually just this last weekend I was at like a little smaller local one, and somebody gave me my first like Reiki massage, which was crazy.
Great. But yeah, Reiki has become more mainstream over the past few years, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's in massage clinics, and it's certainly become more mainstream. Like you can have conversations with more status quo minded folks about Reiki, and then being like, yeah, I've heard of that. And a lot of them even being like, oh yeah, because as you know, like what Reiki is, it's like moving of energy around our bodies. You know, people are guiding energy and finding where there's blockages and energetically working with somebody. Those status quo minded people will be like, oh yeah, I know, they're moving the energy around. It's like they've like accepted it, at least to a degree, you know, that there is energy to be moved around, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
That's a great step, and I'm sure it's gone even further over the past multiple years. Well, let me see. So yeah, I apologize because some of this was a bit non-linear, you know, as I'm like going along and think of something that I should have said to like put in it, you know, further down the instruction of the workshop. So I will just, until I think of something else, I guess, that might need to be placed back there. Just the end, kind of heading towards the end of the workshop, you know, after everybody has experienced it, you know, just tell them to, again, relax, you know, let them breathe for a while.
Yeah.
It might be nice to tell them to like allow their hands to like address any areas of their body that might need attention, or you know, at the very end of it, like, you know, after you've like built up all that power, like to like raise your hands in the air can be very powerful sometimes too. Just like that, I don't know, just feeling can just be, because you're just like basking in this like power that's exploding out of us, you know, and collectively too, you know, doing it with a group of people.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you may want to do that, you know, use your discretion with that, but give them like a few minutes just to like breathe. And it might be nice to be saying something about Merkabah, or just anything, I guess, in general, or give them like some kind of guided meditation of sorts to kind of allow them to just like sit in this very sacred moment that we've cultivated at this point.
Yeah.
Definitely. And just let them know, you know, that, you know, they've activated their light bodies, that they've integrated their multidimensional selves with their like physical three-dimensional bodies. And I don't know, you can speak all empowerment, like we are the ones we've been waiting for, like, you know, you've taken your power back now, and you can now like powerfully like step into like the fullest you that you can be, you know, from this point on.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Like, and I mean, I really hope I get, you know, because it's still not, you know, it says after you get into the ambassadors, it's separate applications to get, you know, to actually work a show. You have to come with your own project. I really hope they pick me, because I feel like, you know, going, you know, doing a Merkabah activation, and, you know, maybe me, you know, going up there and just like, you know, facilitating that for a lot of people, and then going to a Base Nectar set, like, it just, I don't know. I just feel like that this is that would be a very good way, you know, to, you know, experience Base Nectar set.
Oh man, yeah. After you've had a Merkabah activation and run out there to Base Nectar show, that's like, you are in another, like a higher vibrational dimension at that point. Just, you know, I've always had this thought too, like it would be so fabulous, you know, if somebody like Base Nectar, you know, could somehow through like his music, like during his set, or maybe take like 15 minutes in a set and have people become facilitated in a Merkabah activation, have like 10,000 people at one time, like all activating their Merkabahs.
That'd be crazy. Hey, it could happen.
Man, just the thought of that happening is so profound. Like what that could possibly even do. Like,
never say never.
No, that's what I mean. I'm like in my mind, like I'm trying to. I've like definitely put some thought and energy behind that path. So maybe you're part of that manifestation. You know, I thought about that, you know, and explicitly too with Base Nectar. For some reason, I feel like if he could just like do some kind of like Merkabah activation track, or, you know, just take like 15 minutes and be like, all right, fam, we're all going to do this little breathwork exercise real quick.
Yeah, maybe like, I mean, you've been to a show before, correct?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, like maybe like right after the family photo, like, okay, like, you know, just him get up, you know, on the.
That would be such a good time to do it. That would. Oh my God. maybe you're gonna take that somewhere. Who knows? But we'll see.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Oh my God. They have you like go up there and they're like, yeah, you're gonna do this Merkabah activation. Good golly. Because it was powerful with like over 100 people. Like, man, to get like a batch of people together, thousands, 100,000 people, and doing like what this is, like we're interfacing with this like multi-dimensional aspect of ourselves, and we'll feel it in a very physical way, perhaps unlike never before.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. So yeah. Well, all right. So basically, that's it. Let them relax, and in small enough groups. I think it's great to have a little conversation after, sit down and be like, anybody want to talk about what they've experienced? It can really,
definitely.
Yeah, it can help each other understand this. It's something that truly has been repioneered, from many thousands of years, just being hidden away from us. I guess, do you have any questions?
Yeah, just real quick, like, I mean, you never experienced anybody actually like hyperventilating themselves, have you?
No. So, again, like what we're doing as we're like exhaling like fully out from the bottom of our lungs, like that's gonna stop the hyperventilation process. You hyperventilate when you're like breathing too much in, and then like you're not exhaling it, like
right,
and then you pass out. So,
right.
But you can tell people like, well, explain that to them, but also, if you start to feel weird at all, like uncomfortable, just go at your own fucking pace, like it's not a race. If you feel uncomfortable, just slow down. You can always rejoin us at some point, but just want to make sure that people are taking care of themselves.
Yeah.
Because you're the guide. You're just instructing the process and sort of making sure everybody's safe and gonna reap the best experience possible from this. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I've never experienced anybody hyperventilating, but you can kind of tell when people are starting to go a little too hard. You can, if you see that, as you're instructing, just like reaffirm or reiterate, it's like, just as you're breathing, you don't have to go like hard to where we're hurting ourselves, be kind to our bodies, etc. That can bring people back.
Yeah.
Back into pace and rhythm.
Very cool.
Yeah, so I'm going to give you the link that I was telling you about to this other video, and I'd encourage you to like watch it. If you have the time, I think you should definitely like fucking do it, because it's like if you sit down and you just like go right along with this, like you'll have possible, because he does it for a while, like a very powerful Merkabah activation. And if you haven't done it in a while, I feel like it's always nice to do it every now and then to like tune ourselves up.
Definitely. No, I should have some time today. So.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So I'll send that to you. Take some notes. And what we're gonna do, take some time with all this information, rewatch this video if you need to. And what I would like is, after some time, and take some time to think about how to do this, we'll have another video chat, and then if you have any more questions, we can bounce them back and forth either then, or you can always reach me online, of course. But what I'd like you to do is lead me through a workshop that you would give people, and I'll be able to give you some feedback, and basically we'll get it to a point where I feel that it's great. It's gonna, what you got, take that and you'll use that to build from and do your workshops with, and then you'll get my thumbs up. I've been doing this Merkabah facilitation since 2012. I've probably led well, probably at this point close to like 1,000-ish people.
Yeah, that's
through
awesome.
this. It could be less. I haven't been keeping like specific count, but it's definitely been many, many times. So credentials wise, me sort of giving you this, I've done it for years, and you can also say that the root of it came from Phoenix to this guy who got it from his spirit guides, which I think is a crazy story.
Yeah.
Just like kind of pulls people's intrigue in a little closer. It's like, oh,
definitely. Definitely.
And so yeah, basically, you'll give it to me, and I'll green light if it feels good to me, and I just want to make sure it's to the point where it's going to be what's going to activate people's Merkabahs in a good way.
I mean, that's cool. 110% the goal. So
definitely. So and then you'll be ready to go and Merkabah facilitate, as far as I'm concerned.
That's awesome.
So yeah, dude, namaste. Thank you so much for like remembering me and finding me. I wish I had kept better contact with participants, to guide them to more information. And it truly means a lot that you want to do this. And I hope that we can build on this information and through these experiences and archive these Merkabah activations, and hopefully, throughout whatever period of time, be able to fully like interface with these very complex and probably not at the same time extensions of ourselves to like fully utilize them.
Yeah.
And who knows what kind of potential it could hold. It truly does seem
limitless.
Yeah, in a sense. So right. Aho, man. And I guess with that, I will end this broadcast. But